let's just dive right in and say what boundaries are not. Boundaries are not about keeping people out. They're not about keeping you separate, and they are not about protecting yourself. So this is a bit of a, I would say, difference from what a lot of people, what we think of, what a lot of resources out in our world are, is that boundaries is this thing that we have to construct around ourselves. We have to have this wall of protection and decide who gets in and who doesn't get in, and what gets in and what gets out. And I actually have a completely different perspective on that. That's not what boundaries are actually about. So that's not what boundaries are. What are they? And I would say that boundaries, the boundary around you is all of the unique things that make up you and who you are. So it's all the little and big things that define you and who you are in the world, uniquely you. So boundaries, the best definition comes from Brene Brown, where she says, you know, the most basic definition of boundary is what's okay and what's not okay with you. So the boundary is all the unique things about us, and then within all those unique things, what is okay and what is not okay. And I have to credit Teal Swan with expanding my mind on what boundaries could be and what they are in a larger context, in a larger sense of healing. Okay, so what she says is that developing boundaries is a crucial part of finding our true selves. And this is what really landed for me a couple of years ago, when I really started consciously working on the area of boundaries within myself. So the other thing I'll say about boundaries is that they operate on an unconscious and energetic level. So what does that mean? So that means this is not about the mind, that boundaries are something that exists on this energetic field. So if you think about the world that we live in and move around in, we are in a field of energy at all times. And the field of energy also has magnetism within it. So there's vibrations and frequencies that come together, and then there's things that repel each other. So when I'm talking about boundaries operating on an unconscious energetic level, it's what is okay and not okay with us at the unconscious level that determines our boundary, not what we think or set or decide what is our boundary. So an example of this for myself is I had decided, I discovered that through my healing journey, and as I came out more into the world, I had this incredible knack for choosing mentors who actually didn't value me. So they would use me, and then when push came to shove and it was time to promote me or honor me, they basically dumped me and left me in the dirt. And so I was very mystified by this and thought, well, how can that be? You know, I have a boundary. I am, you know, thinking myself, I am valuable, I have things to offer. And yet the lived experience that I had was of attracting these mentors who didn't honor that, right? So that sent me on an inner journey of questioning. So why is that what's showing up in my life? How is it that I keep attracting these people? And at the beginning, they seem like, oh, they want to honor me. They want to, you know, they see the value that I have to offer. And then all of a sudden, you know, it turns out that that's not the case. Well, the truth is that there was a part within me that didn't value myself. And that was the part that was attracting these mentors, right? So there's this disconnect between what I thought, what I wanted, and my unconscious and energetic truth about who was then showing up. Okay, all right. Oh, I wanted to, okay, I forgot one thing I was gonna say about where I started this boundary journey. So I said I started with no sense of self and no boundaries whatsoever. Let me give you an example of what that looks like. In my first job, when I was working as an economist for the federal government, we would have to go to different buildings for our work for various meetings. And to get from one to the other, we go in taxis. Back in the day of taxis, I know there's Ubers now, but it'd be the same concept. And I tuned in one time as I was in this taxi and this driver was being quite erratic and not driving very safely, and realized that I didn't put my seatbelt on because I was concerned that the taxi driver would think I didn't trust him. So that is the level of boundaries that I started this journey with, which I can tell you is zero. I mean, it still shocks me to this day when I think back to that me that existed back then, when my own personal safety didn't matter as much as the feelings of this stranger taxi driver that I didn't even know, right? So I come a long way, baby. Let's just say that.